Hi, I'm here at PACK RXPO East, and I'm with Rebecca Marquez here at the Industry Speak stage. She just gave a great presentation about pharmaceutical manufacturing and packaging trends, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Hey, so you mentioned some challenges that end users have, and you said based on your study that their number one challenge is regulations and regulatory documentation.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, what are the solutions that can help them overcome these challenges?
Well, there's a number of challenges, but that definitely is a large one. End users are having a hard time with documenting documenting for regulations purposes all of the data that they're collecting.
Sure.
So, outside of really naming any kind of business or like specific solution, I think one of the things that's really important to remember is that when you are designing equipment, when you're designing processes, you really need to look to your OEM as a partner. You have to, because they're the ones who are going to design and help you with how you're capturing your data, and then how you can document it. They can build that right in. So it's really important to think of your supplier as a partner. I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about collaboration in every industry, but it does seem like the solution to kind of move things forward.
Absolutely. And in this industry, pharma specifically, regulations are so important. So you really do need to think of your supplier as a partner.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.